Everybody, I've gotten a few requests on actually just editing an image that I did from a photo shoot and have people watch me how I go from my vision from point A to B. And so what I'm going to do is take this image right here and try to salvage that fashion shoot that I did in Utah at the Bonneville Salt Flats this past October. Are we ready for this? Let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to the channel, this is dedicated to photography and as a photo artist, creatively thinking out of the box. So with that out of the way, let's jump into our program. This was about a few months ago. I threw out an idea to a small group of people, but some answered back with comments and some came through my private email address. And that is, would you be interested in watching me edit an image from start to finish based on my vision? And they all said, well, yeah, that would be cool. I said, well, here's the problem. Because I'm going to, this is unrehearsed, I'm just going to take an image. Who knows how long it's going to be? It might be a 20, 30-minute video or longer. I mean, I don't know. But you can sort of follow my thought process. And I might go in a direction that I don't even like. And I go, I didn't like that. And I'm going to try something else. So again, unrehearsed, unscripted here, so we're going to dive in. So the picture we're going to use here is a raw image that I shot in October 2024, because I'm not sure when you guys are watching this, and it was at a fashion shoot on the Bonneville Salt Flats out in Utah. So let's jump into Photoshop and let's open up the image. And by the way, if you can do me a favor, by the way, for the new people, excuse me. Sorry about that. I still haven't recouped from that trip. I typically just double click on my workspace to get the open dialog box rather than going to a drop down menu to get it. This is the image that I'm going to use. Again, not rehearsed at all, unscripted here. So I'm going to click on this. I thought about what I might want to do with this. So I thought that in advance. That's why I picked this image. Again, it's a raw image. And this will automatically open up in what's called Camera Raw through Photoshop. And then when you're done, it puts it back into layers. Okay, so the first thing I do in Camera Raw is I'll go to a category called Optics. By the way, you'll find this if you're a user of Lightroom, you should be able to do this stuff. It's just laid out different. And I'm going to choose Use Profile Corrections. It determined I use a Canon, a Tamron lens, which I did the 35 to 150. And it made any kind of vignetting and distortion correction there right in Camera Raw. Okay, so the first thing, let's talk about this image a little bit and why I picked it. I want to see if I could salvage this and actually use it. And I'm analyzing the image. And by the way, this was sunset. Excuse me again. Boy, I need some water. And there is a lens flare, but you really can't tell. It's just there a little bit. I want to enhance that. I want to recrop this. I don't want to crop out the light, the softbox there in the stand. I could easily say, hey, let's make this a vertical crop. I still want it horizontal. So I want to see how far I can go in Camera Raw to fix this first. And so let's take a look at a tool here that's fairly new, by the way, in Camera Raw. We never had this, and that is sort of a remove tool. It's like a brush. And the key thing is when you choose that, make sure it's set here. And it's set to use generative AI. Okay, so now when I go over here, the size, by the way, if I scroll this up, is just the size of the brush. I go and I paint like this over the area. And let's see if it gets rid of that. Choose remove over here. Whoops, wrong button, Steve. Right here, remove. And let it generate and see what happens. Now we'll have up to 3 choices here. And first choice is good. Down here, the 3 choices, 2, 3, they all look the same. So that's fine. I'll leave that alone right there. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the mask tool here because I'm going to modify the sky. I'm not happy with the sky. So when I click on that, I'm going to choose a feature called sky right here. And it should select the sky. Let's see how well it does. Pretty good. And I'm going to push the exposure down based, again, all of this is very subjective. It's based on your vision. I remember when I shot this, and let me give you a little story behind this. Sun is going down. You have a limited time to shoot, and there was like 4 different locations with different models. And I happened to walk by and I decided I'm going to shoot her really quick. So the softbox you saw there was not mine at all. It was, I just flopped down my my strobe on the side, took the shot, walked away because I want to do a couple other ones somewhere else. And again, lighting is changing really fast as the sun is going down. What I remember is I'm going to come down to temperature here, and I'm going to move this to the left because I remember we were transitioning from a blue sky down to the yellows and the oranges and stuff. So I want to bring that back a bit right there. So I'm happy with that. And the next thing I want to do is go to the remove tool again, right here. So again, I selected that and make sure that generative AI is activated. And I'm going to go over here and just click and drag and paint in this area to cover up that area. And let's see what it does when I choose remove. So when I click on the remove button, let it do its thing, and let's see what happens. Still thinking, still thinking, still thinking. There we go. Not bad. Let me take a look at the other 2. So the other 2, if we come over here, see, I got too many programs running, I think, in the background here. Let it do its processing here. But there's a listing here of 1, 2, and 3. So let me see what the next one looks like. Come on there, buddy. 2, well, that one's sort of good. I'm going to pick number 3. So again, very subjective as to what you choose. And the very last thing I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the crop tool right here. And I'm going to click and drag down a bit, move up about right there. Okay, so I'm going to position that right there and then just, again, accept that. So again, let me go back over here to the very top. That's my crop. And I want to, again, push this further. So let me throw this into Photoshop because we are just running the Adobe Camera Raw first. And then when I click on open down here, that will push it into Photoshop on a layer. So let me just make this a little bit smaller so we can see this. Okay, so what I want to do now is I see hopefully this shows up right here. That is the lens flare, and I really want to pop that out. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Control J or Command J to duplicate my layer. I'm going to do Control G, Command G on a Mac to put it in a group because I'm going to do this 2 different ways. My goal here is to do this 100% in Photoshop, no plugins. The second attempt, I'm going to use 1, maybe 2 plugins. We'll see how it goes. So that's why I'm setting this up as a group. So with this selected here, this layer, what I want to do is, I know a lot of people don't know this, but if you've been using Photoshop for a while, we have these lens flares built into the software. You'll find that under the filter drop-down menu here, and you come down to render, and you come over here to lens flare. Now this is old school stuff. You can move this stuff around, but here's the problem. I want a certain angle because the sun is right there in this spot, and the lens flare comes there, and I would love to have the lens flare going down in that direction, and it's not, and I can't control that. And so I need to do a little bit of a hack, so I'm going to cancel out of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add down here, let me push this up so we can see this a little bit. I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to fill that with black. So over here, my toolbar on the left side, I can see that black is right up there. So if I hold the Alt key down and hit delete on my keyboard, that quickly fills that in. Should be Option delete on a Mac. And then I'm going to go back to filter, come down to, again, render again, come down to lens flare, and I might push this like this, about right there, and click on OK. So it's applying it to that layer, and then that's all I'm going to do is go to screen blending mode, and it takes away the black, and Control T, Command T on a Mac to activate the free transform tool. I can move this around. So you can see the spot there. That's where the sun would be. So I'm going to position that right there. And since I did that right here, I'm going to take the center spot, click and drag and move it where the sun is at. That allows me to go here and rotate this and pivot it on that spot. And I want to line that up with the existing lens blur. So it's like I'm following in the right direction. You could resize this, do whatever you want to do. I'm just going to do enter on the keyboard right there. I might build on this, Shift Control Alt E, Shift Command Option E on a Mac. That's just creating a stamp layer right there. And then maybe I'll just do multiply, push that down a little bit. And I'll add a mask to that. And I just want to paint in here, maybe about 30%. I want to bring in some lightness on her, but I want this sort of dark and moody. And again, this is where very subjective, right? It's based on your view, what you want to do here. And maybe I'll feather this in properties so we can see if I Alt click, Option click on my mask, we can see that. If I keep painting there, that's darker. But if I feather that, again, we can go over here under the feather category and just move this to the right a bit. I can see how that's feathering right there. I'm going to Alt click on my mask again. That's Option click on a Mac. And there is my, let's do this before and after on her. And again, you could do other things by selecting her and do other techniques. But bottom line is I'm trying to make this a bit moody, pop this a little bit, and modify the sky the way I did, and also enhance the lens flare right there. So this is what I started with, again, and that's what I ended up with. And again, I can continue on this, but I just don't want to waste time. But you can color grade and do other stuff if you want to bring the exposure up. I mean, that's all personal preference on that. Bottom line is I wanted to get rid of the softbox and the light stand, affect the sky a little bit there, and then enhance the, again, lens flare. Okay, so that's my first attempt right there. So that didn't work too bad. Okay, so again, I'm going to select the background layer, Control J, Command J on a Mac, and I'm going to do Control G. That would be my second grouping there. Make sure I select that. And with that selected, I need to turn off the very top one. So we're back to our normal layer. So hopefully you caught that. I kept the group one activated, didn't want to do that. Turn it off so we don't see that. And we see the duplicate copy in group 2. Okay, so this is my second attempt. So I'm going to use a shortcut keystroke to actually open up a software that I've owned for quite a while called Luminar Neo. And I'm going to use a feature in there. Just one. I mean, I could add, do more things and color grading in it and other stuff, but I'm more concerned about the background here. So I'm going to go to a preset. I'm just going to choose this one called Close Up. And I'm going to choose Focus. I'm just randomly picking something, but let it render out. Don't know if we're going to see that much of a difference. Eyeball down here. There's before and there is after. So I'm going to go to Edit up here, and I'm just going to add one feature. And that is, if I scroll down, there's a feature here called Sun Rays. I'm going to choose that, and I'm going to click on Place Sun. And this is where the sun is at. I'm going to move this to the right so we can see this. And I'm going to add an amount And I'm really going to push the amount up so we can see what's going on here. And down here where it says sun, the rays setting, I should say. If I come down here, number of rays, I can increase that or decrease that. I'm going to decrease that a bit. I'm going to randomize it like that. I can add some warmth if I want. So if I come down here, let's scroll up here to warmth, sun rays. I could pull this back so it's cooler. I can warm it up. I might go about halfway there. And again, this is all very subjective. Okay, once I have that, I'm going to take this spot where the sun is at and put it where it would be right there. Okay, and then this software, I can mask out what I did, but this software also has a masking feature here. So I'm going to click on masking. I'm going to choose brush right here. And then I'm going to choose erase. And I'm just going to come over this area here to take any information off that. And that looks pretty good to me. So again, that's the before, after here. And then I'm going to go to apply. Now, I really want to enhance the lens flare over here. And I'm going to do it in a different product. So I'm going to actually do, say, a couple plugins here. I'm going to do Control-J. You know what? I'm going to live on the edge. I'm not going to do Control-J to duplicate that. I'm just going to leave it right there. Normally I would. Well, you know what? Let's do it. Control-J, I'm sorry. So make sure that's selected. Control-J to duplicate that. And then I don't have a shortcut on this. So Filter, come down to Bourse Effects, Optics. Let this open up. And hopefully you guys are learning something. And by the way, before I get into this, if you can do me a favor, if you're learning anything, that if you could do me a favor again, just like the video, subscribe if you have not subscribed, hit that notification bell. Next time I upload a video, you'll get notified on that. Also, this channel is not monetized, and I keep forgetting to thank the people that are supporting this channel by going to buymeacoffee.com/Stephen Photo Artist. The link is right here at the bottom of the screen, and also it will be in my show notes. So again, thank you for the ones that have done that and donated a coffee or two, but also the ones that went to the extra tab and purchased a couple of the different templates and things I have for sale for like, there's something there for like $5, there's something there for $7. So thank you again, people, for doing that. Okay, so I'm going to go to an area here called the search category on the bar, and I'm just going to type in lens. I don't even think I have to do lens flare. Let me do N. Whoops. Come on, Stephen. Lens. My keyboard is goofing up here. E-N. There we go. Lens flare. So I'm going to choose that category. Now, the problem with optics is there's hardly anything to choose from the lens flare category. Okay, I'm being sarcastic. There's a ton of stuff, and I'm not going to experiment and go through different things, but if I decide to, I don't know, let's just choose something here. One of the things I like about the lens flares is the things that you can actually change in the program. So in other words, this right here, okay, the sun is right here. So that's where I'm going to put that. Okay, so it's in that spot. But if I grab this, I can actually control the angle of that. In fact, I changed my mind. I'm going to go to this one over here because I want something to really stand out instead. So I can line this up with, there's the lens blur from the actual photograph. Maybe pull that up like that. And again, this is, personal preference, whatever you want to do. And then I'm not going to play with this, but we have different parameters here where you can actually change the color of things, push up the saturation if you want more saturation, again, to play with this. But I'm just trying to give you, my analogy of how I'm going to approach this. I'd be taking some time looking at different settings here and stuff to see what I'd like to get. But yeah, I'm satisfied with that. So I'm going to go to the lower right corner and just click on Apply. And let that render out, and that will take me right back into Photoshop. So there is the enhance, because again, the goal here was to enhance this the lens flare, right? And then again, if I want to take this again and just do Control J to duplicate that, come over here, just choose the multiply blending mode to make this more dark and moody right there. I might pull that back a little bit based on, again, personal taste. Add a mask to this. So come down here to add the mask and grab my paintbrush, B for brush, and again, highlight to add some light on her like that. And maybe feather that out a little bit. Okay, so this is where I came from. So let's take a look at the before and after. So that's where we started on this one. Second attempt, there we go. So this is group number 2. And let me turn it off. And group number 1 was 100% using Photoshop. And I had to do that little hack with the lens flare to put it on a layer that was black and put it into screen blending mode. Okay, so that was the attempt there, and this is the attempt right there. So pretty cool. Again, based on my vision, that's what I wanted to do. Hopefully you learned something. And before we end, just a quick reminder, and that is, again, just email address here at the bottom of the screen, stephenphotoartist@gmail.com. It'll be in the show notes. Hopefully you guys learned something. Do me a favor, and that is get that camera out, practice, make mistakes. Why? Because we learn from making mistakes. We want to push ourselves. Okay, so let's think creatively, literally creatively out of the box. Until next time, see ya.